Hi, my name is Dr. Rick Fenninger. I'm saxophone professor at Plymouth State University. And I put this course together because my students always ask me, I understand how to practice, scales, how to practice an etude book, how to practice a classical piece, but I don't have any clue on how to practice jazz improvisation. So I put this course together. It's 17 lessons. It's in sequential order, starts out with very simple concepts, major scale, and moves more progressively through all the major modes, all the minor modes, 2-5-1s, augmented chords, diminished chords, any chord that you would use to practice or play jazz. And like I said, there's 17 lessons. And give you an example of how this works. I'm on lesson 1, which are major scales. So I start out with major scales. There's a download files for each lesson. So for lesson 1, major scales, I've downloaded it. And here's all the major scales and the chords that they correspond with. So your first lesson would be to practice the major scales, memorize the major scales. And then I have chord change progressions to play along with for B flat, C, and E flat. So if you click on that, and basically I'm just going around the circle of fifths, fourths, whatever you want to call those. And then I have a play along for each chord type. So here's the major progression play along. Tempo is fairly slow. Hopefully you can hear this through my microphone. So you practice each of the exercises that I give you with a lesson. And I start out very simple. Let's go to lesson 1. This is not lesson 1. And I start out with talking about the swing articulation. Again, this would apply to jazz, but it'll also apply to any type of pop music, funk music, any music that you're going to improvise in. Doesn't have to be jazz necessarily. And I talk about numbering the scales, and I give you some fairly simple patterns to start learning these chord types. I start out 1-2-1-2, 1-2-3-2, and then I give you some examples of me playing the patterns in a swing style. So, and I go through and the patterns get a little more complex, 1-3-5-7, 1-3-5-7, 6-5-4-3. So you're actually learning the chord types, getting them under your fingers, in your ears. And I do this for each of the chord types that I described, all the major modes, minor modes, augmented and diminished. I also have real book play-alongs that you can play along with. So chord progressions from those and any, that you'll run into. There's also, tons of resources for play-along tracks these days. So basically, I take you from simple concepts to complex concepts and move forward with that. The course is $25 for lifetime access. You'll get a watermarked code that you have to put in. It's accessed through my website. So if we go up to my website here, I'm also a multimedia composer. And if you go down to where it says online classes, the code you put in will last for 24 hours without having to re-enter it. So I've already entered the core code for the improv class. So here's jazz improvisation. Click on that. And there's your 17 lessons. You just click on a lesson. There's your download file. There's your exercises for each of these for this particular scale type, and which is the D7 flat 9 sus. You'll figure it out. Like I said, it moves sequentially from easy to fairly complex. 17 lessons, play-alongs for every one of them, lifetime access. And I hope you check out the course, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'm always looking for feedback on how to make the course better.